Creating a checklist in the PinPoint app. So, to begin, a checklist template is an asset. If you're not already there, let's go ahead and let's navigate to the administrator home screen. And to create an asset, we want to simply tap this plus symbol here on the asset button in the upper left-hand corner. Now, this takes you to the Create Asset screen. As you can see, there are two tabs at the top of the screen, Media and Forms. A checklist is considered a form, so let's navigate over to the Form tab. Then we want to tap on the Checklist button up here in the upper left-hand corner. Now, we just want to work our way from the top to the bottom of the screen to create our checklist. So this top icon button allows you to add a thumbnail for the checklist, which is used in a couple of different ways. First, as a preview on the assignment and the template itself, and also as the header image of the checklist once users actually get into it. It isn't required, but it is nice to have, especially when you get a bunch of these assets and you want to quickly visually differentiate between them. Now, as you can see, you can take a photo or you can grab one from your library for the thumbnail. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. So first off, first field up here, let's go ahead and add a name for our checklist. So for our fictional example here, let's create an inspection for the fire extinguishers in our workplace. So we'll call it Fire Extinguisher Inspection. Okay, so now that we have our name, next is the description field. So this description, it won't be seen by any of the users who are assigned the checklist. This is just a place where you can add notes for yourself or perhaps other admins who might access the template. For example, we can enter, let's enter only use this for portable extinguishers. Okay, so now let's go ahead and add our first checklist item by tapping the Add Checklist Item button here. So once again, we'll work our way from the top of the screen to the bottom to add our first item. So our first question will be, are all extinguishers approved? Okay, so now that we have our first question that we're asking in our inspection checklist, now we can select what type of answers we want the user to choose from. So we have a number of options here. We have yes, no, not applicable, safe, not applicable, go, stop, caution, and pass, fail, not applicable. So I think the yes, no, not applicable, the default option, is the best for this checklist item. So I'll go ahead and choose it by tapping done. Now, if we'd like, we can add an image to this specific item. Some checklist items might benefit from having a visual example. I'm going to go ahead and skip this. Next, we can add a description for the item. Once again, this description won't be seen by anyone other than you and perhaps other admins, and it's just a good place to add some helpful notes. So finally, I'll tap Done to finish our first checklist item. And we can see that the item has been added to our checklist, and we're ready to add the next item, just like we did for the first. And for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and use some video editing to jump ahead to where I've added multiple items, populated our checklist. All right, welcome back. You can see that I've gone ahead and added items to the checklist. You can always go back in now to these items and you can edit any of them by tapping on them. You can also arrange the items in any order by simply holding down on this icon over here on the far right side of the option, long holding, and then sliding it into the new desired position. And if you ever want to remove a question, you can simply tap this red minus icon over here on the left-hand side of the checklist item. So once you're happy with your checklist, go ahead and tap Done to create the checklist template as an asset. Now, to go ahead and see our checklist that we just built, we navigate back to the home screen, and this time tap the Asset button itself, not the plus icon, to see our list of assets. And here at the top of our asset list, make sure you're looking at the My Asset tab and not the PinPoint or Community tabs, is the checklist template we just created. So tapping on it, we can see a nice summary of the asset. We can edit it, we can preview it, or remove it. So let's preview it real quick. Here are the questions we entered. I can answer them. If I'd like, I can add an image to my response, or I can even create an action that is tied to a specific checklist item. So, if this were an important issue, we can make sure that it's taken care of with the slick corrective action feedback loop that's actually built into PinPoint. And we will cover these features in future tutorials.